During the course of this investigation, we've executed numerous search warrants, collected evidence, followed up on tips, identified and interviewed witnesses, and we're able to announce that on Saturday, the detectives from the Major Crimes Division developed enough probable cause to do a search warrant, do an arrest warrant for 19-year-old Josiah Smith. They drafted that warrant on Saturday. It was signed on Saturday for charging him with murder. Members of our Intelligence Division, Auto Theft Division, and Violent Crime Unit were able to pick Mr. Smith up this morning without incident, and he is in custody. Served the warrant for murder. This was a collaborative effort from everyone here in the police department and outside. Our agencies out there that helped us, the Connecticut State Police, the FBI, the DEA. Want to thank the GA-14 and the prosecutors and everybody over there that assisted us with this investigation. That being said, this is still an ongoing investigation. We still have work to do here, interviews to be conducted, and there is still avenues of there are still aspects of this investigation that need to be followed up on, and more information may be forthcoming on that. I can say at this point, we still believe that there is a relationship between the Magnolia Street shooting and the Nelson Street shooting. We do know that Jamari Preston was not in the vehicle and was not the shooter, which is evident by the fact that we have identified the shooter and arrested the shooter. But any further comments on the relationship between those two cases, we're going to hold off on because those two investigations are still very active. I just want to personally applaud the work that was done by the men and women of the Hartford Police Department. They are represented here. Lead investigator William Cody is here. The supervisor in the case, Tony Rakowski, Sergeant Tony Rakowski, is here. You'll hear from them. But just as they do in every investigation that they undertake, they just they dive in, and their personal commitment is something I can't thank them enough and put into words enough what they put into these investigations. This one, exceptionally tragic. These investigators our investigators here are all fathers and mothers, and I think that this one really hit home, and they were it was unbelievable the dedication that they put into this case and will continue to put into this case. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you, Chief. First of all, I just want to start again by expressing our city's deepest condolences to the families of both of the young people who lost their lives last weekend. I mourned this morning with the family of Rondell Jones, a 3-year-old who was laid to rest today. This was a hard week for our community, a devastating weekend. And as the chief said, our detectives, our teams at Major Crimes, Auto Theft Task Force put everything they had into this. And I want to express deepest gratitude to the entire team. Detective Cody, Sergeant Rakowski, to you and the entire team that you work with. Thank you for your extraordinary work, and we know that work continues, but I know you've been working around the clock since last Saturday. You probably haven't left work much between then and now, and our city is grateful for your work too. You know, there are a lot of cities where a crime like this might never have been solved, and that doesn't just mean that a family and a community lack closure, or that a murderer is not brought to justice. It also potentially leaves more people at risk and leaves more possibility of retaliation. And so in solving a crime like this, the men and women of Major Crimes and Auto Task Force and everyone who's working together in the Hartford Police Department are not just solving crime, they're also working to prevent crime in our community and try to keep our community safe. And again, our entire city is grateful for the extraordinary work that made it possible to identify and make an arrest just 1 week after this incredibly tragic and difficult weekend that we as a community experienced. So again, with profoundest grief and condolences to the families, and with enormous gratitude to the team that has worked so hard and taken it so personally over the last week. I just want to say thank you. Keith.
Detective Cody, you got a comment or two for us? Just what your thoughts are here? That's all. I'm putting him on the spot, but I think he deserves a recognition.
You know, like we said, it was it was a total team effort. You know, I couldn't have done it obviously without these guys. C4, our intel division was huge. You know, I mean, I think we all took it very personal, you know, with Randall. It was a tough week, but we got through it. Yeah.
As a father, what does it mean when you have kids of your own?
It's tough because, you know, I go home, you know, every day and, you know, see my children, and, you know, I talk to the mom, you know, every day, and, you know, unfortunately she had to go through this, and it just makes you realize sometimes how good you have it, you know. I mean, she's such a strong mother, and I just, you know, my heart goes out to her and her family to have to go through this.
How old are your kids?
7, 5, and 11 months. So I was right in there. So, thank you.
Questions?
What's the relationship between Josiah and the family you're thanking?
I'm sorry.
The relationship between Josiah Smith and the family, is
So-
there a connection?
I'm not going to go into any of the connection to the people. As one thing that we have found this week is, as we've said, this is a complex case. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think that you know, I'm proud of the fact that our team was patient, didn't jump to conclusions, and made sure that they went in the direction where the evidence took them. So like I said, this case is still actively being investigated. We still have the Magnolia Street case that's actively being investigated, so we're not going to get into the connections.
You talked about how you were able, or detectives were able to identify Smith. Was it surveillance video? Exactly what led you to him and where he was arrested today?
It's all of the above. You know, the detectives this week used technology. Like I said, they used, you know, they executed search warrants, physical evidence, video. As I said from the very beginning, video played a big part in this investigation, but so did witnesses, and so did their interviews with people, what you would, I guess, consider kind of good old-fashioned police work. The details of how we came to this, we're not going to go into, only because we still have, you know, people to be interviewed, and there are parts of this investigation that need to be completed.
In terms of where he was picked up today?
Burton Street.
In Hartford?
Yeah.
With the people you're interviewing, I know you can't disclose that, I respect that, but were they on the scene? Were they like part of inside the cars?
Some people were involved at the scene. Some people were involved in gathering information or coming across information later. It's really, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people involved.
You guys were at the vigil. Would you say people came up to you and provided some leads that helped you get to this arrest?
Absolutely. You know, I think that, you know, especially even after the vigil that night, the detectives are out there. They're out there at every one of these vigils. And you do get people that, you know, I think the emotion at these vigils hits home, and they realize the depth of the loss, and they do come forward and talk to us. They did get further information after the vigils, so that was a big part of it as well.
In terms of the shooting just on Nelson Street, do you anticipate more arrests in that case?
We'll see. That we'll see where the investigation continues to take us at this point.
Because you believe other people were in the car with him and he was in that Honda Accord?
We know there were people in that Honda Accord, and that Honda Accord was a stolen vehicle, so we could see arrests related to that, but like I said, a lot will depend on where the investigation goes from here. This was the focus was to find the shooter. They did that. Now I think it becomes, where the investigation takes us from here will remain to be seen, but we'll release that as soon as we can.
And how important is it to show this might not have been solved in other states, you said, other communities, your community, you're still 100% moving forward? How important is that to send a message to the community that you're still here and you have everybody front and center working on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it sends a message to the victims' families. It sends a message to the next, would-be perpetrator out there. Between the technology that we have here in the city, we're blessed to have that technology, and these investigators. I mean, if you look at Babcock Street, you're talking, that homicide was solved and the suspect was in custody just within a few hours after it happened. So I think that, the message is clear that the men and women of the Hartford Police Department are doing their best to prevent these shootings. When we can't prevent them, there's nobody better at solving them than our detectives.
What's the latest on the burnt cars?
Not going to go into that.
Do you have any evidence that Mr. Smith was involved in any past shootings in the city?
I don't, as of right now, I don't. Again, this kind of came together pretty quickly, beginning Saturday night, and then taking him into custody today. If he is involved, we'll look into it, but I don't have any information that he's involved in anything else right now.
Safe to say, expecting there could be more arrests?
Like I said, we'll see what, a lot will depend on where the information takes the detectives from here. I certainly wouldn't rule it out.
Do you know the identities of the other people who were in that car with Mr. Smith?
The detectives have a good handle on it. If we had a positive identification on anybody, that they'd be in custody. So, like I said, the detectives are working hard, but they're working methodically. One thing I can say about this team, like I said, they don't jump to conclusions. They go where the information and the evidence takes them, and I'm sure that that information will come out in due time.
What was the weapon? Didn't read the affidavit. Was the weapon recovered from this arrest?
As of yet, no. All right, thank you. Thanks, guys.
You want to get on?
Yeah, your name, please?